Hello.
Hi,
Hi, Marie.
how are you?
I am doing great. How are you?
Awesome. So
I,
excited to be here with you today.
I'm so glad to have you here too. I'm going to do our little bit of a formal introduction just so we have
Okay.
it for anyone who may not know us. I'm Sherry Riker-Ballou, and I am a certified high performance coach and author of Say It Now. And I am so happy to be here with Marie Zunda, who is a fellow high performance coach and also founder of, what's the name of your business?
Ignite your best self.
Ignite Your Best Self. I love just hearing you say that again, too. It's such a great title. Yeah. So, Marie, you obviously, I know because I've seen you so many times at events, and I said this to you. You always have the best smile. You're always sunshine when you walk into the room.
Thank you, sweetie.
Yeah, I mean that. And so I'm going to start us off with asking you, so how are you taking care of yourself right now? How are you keeping that positive outlook that I know you always have?
Well, it's been challenging because I have two adult children home with me now, and one is in college and one is working in New York City. So we're juggling around the house. So my entire world has been turned upside down, and we are all working together to respect each other's space and time, quiet time. So that's one thing that we try to do during the day is just kind of figure out what everybody's schedule is and what, who needs what type of space, so we're kind of not on top of each other. But my personal routine has always been really meditation. I really need to find stillness. I need quiet time for me to kind of connect within and come to a quiet, peaceful place within myself so that I can be my best self for my kids and for the community and whatever's going on and my clients in that particular day. So that's really, really important. Another thing is exercise, movement, whether I do daily walks. I have a 100-pound golden retriever who exercise. So we get to go outside, and if it's windy or snowy or rainy or whatever the weather, we're outside. So movement, and we walk for about an hour. So we really need to do that every day because we feel better just being outside, getting air. And I would say the third thing is just really finding time to journal and to kind of try to do a gratitude journal. Really, being in this stressful place, what am I grateful for today? How can I be present today? And just, today, for example, today I walked outside and the sun was out bright and it was shining and I was so excited and the sky was blue. And I was looking at all the flowers blooming and the growth coming up from the air. And I was just feeling so grateful for today. It was just so beautiful.
Oh,
yeah.
So, I love that. I'm gonna just grab onto the last thing you said, because I think, gratitude is such an important part for so many of us.
Right.
And during times like this, especially, I think you and I can say, we've had a lot of practice at sort of staying connected to ourselves and what we love and how grateful we are. And also there are a lot of people who may not have those practices in place yet.
Right.
And I love what you said, because it was so simple, which was you stepped outside and you noticed the world, and, you got caught into that gratitude of the natural world.
Right.
And it was such a beautiful, simple thing that anybody can do, right? Like right now, if someone's listening to this, well, hopefully they'll wait till we're done. But once we're done, to just step outside and to see what is beautiful.
Right. Yeah. I mean, really just appreciating, we are just a part of this big universe and a part of nature. And we're kind of I like the oneness with everything and everybody. And, whether it's animals or whether it's the trees. And sometimes if, I get bored walking, because I walk my dog every day, I kind of play a game and say, what can I notice new, even in the same way that I walk every day? So sometimes it's just today it was let me see how many different buds like have you ever noticed like the buds on the trees? Like you notice the different trees have different buds,
Yes.
I'm just kind of like looking for life. I was just looking for life today, looking for
Oh,
energy, and it was just really fun.
I love that. And I want to say hi to Rachel, who is the dear friend who's here.
Hi, Rachel.
Rachel. It's good to see you. And yes, Marie, I also play that game because, especially right now, we've been instructed to only go where we can walk, right?
Right.
So there are only so many places, where I can walk. But I also play that game of what do I see that's different that I've never seen before? Or
Right.
what do I, I'll even, like, sometimes I do a lot of recordings. I'll get out my audio recorder and record. Everything I see is beautiful,
Right.
or just everything I see that's shiny or whatever, just it's fun to play those. And they are mindfulness games, right?
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. It's always, try to be present. I try to be present as much as possible in the day and not let my thoughts go crazy. But, today, like sometimes you look up and you look at the sky and like today was completely light blue, complete solid blue. But other days, like I've looked up and there was a cross with the airplanes, how they make that white.
Yes.
So there was a cross and I was like, wow, that must be like a sign from God, today.
Oh.
It was really beautiful. So sometimes you see the clouds and you see different shapes in the clouds and, it's fun. Just like looking up. We don't, sometimes we always look down or we're not really looking around, but if we just look up and we just see how beautiful it is and we always just see different things in the sky, it's kind of cool.
It's reminding me of something that my mother, who I just adore, my mother says all the time. She lives in a little teeny tiny rural town in Ohio.
Oh, wow.
And she'll say, if you just sit down and look around, nature will put on a show for you.
Yes.
And I feel like that's kind of what you're saying too. It's like, if we just sit down, we'll see something, right? We'll see something that maybe we hadn't noticed, or our minds, like, our minds will calm down.
Right. It's just taking in air and just breathing and just noticing that we're alive and watching our heart expand and, breathing into the sides, it's just kind of like just breathing just brings in peace and you can kind of relax your shoulders and it feels good and it just brings you down. It brings you calm. It brings you peace. Just being in your body,
Yeah. And, the thing I love, our mentor, Brendan, always says, common sense isn't always common practice. Right. I think it's easy for all of us to say like, yeah, I know, breathe, or I know to stand outside. But really, how often are we putting that into practice, especially when we're feeling that added stress or fear? How often are we taking that practice and putting it into action?
Right.
Yeah.
That's true. I mean, it's kind of like Tony Robbins always says, to keep momentum on something, we need to take massive action. So we really, and then Brendan says, we need to put it in your planner. You need to block time so that, you're going to get your meditation and you're going to get your yoga and you're going to get your walk in, whatever you want to do that makes you feel good that day and brings you peace and calm and stillness. Like you have to make it a priority and make yourself a priority, right? Because self-care now at this particular time is the most important. We need to take care of ourselves, like mind, body, and spirit. Yeah. So we need to find ways to take care of ourselves that works for us. I've often taught many meditation classes, and I always tell my students, if you can breathe, if you can just breathe, you can meditate, because everybody says, I can't meditate, it's too hard. And I'm like, really? Can you breathe? Can you breathe? Okay. It's as simple as that. Okay. Like, and then people were like, well, I've tried meditation for a couple of days. I'm like, can you get a 6-pack on your abs in 3 days? Like, come on now, you got to work at it. Like it's, a habit, 21 days for a habit. So let's go, okay. 30 seconds the first day, 60 seconds the next day, a minute, 3 minutes, 5 minutes, like just baby steps. It's not that hard.
You know what? I love this so much, Marie, because it's like, I'm always same thing with the people that I coach, who I wish I could meditate, wish I could, I can't, and I'll just say like set the timer 30 people. It's amazing to me in 30 seconds.
Right.
If we just sit down truly and like just sit somewhere quiet for 30 seconds and breathe.
Yes.
And there's no wrong way to do it. That's the other thing. People always think that, well, my mind has all these thoughts. Well, yeah. That's what the mind did. The mind always is going to have
That's
thoughts.
what the mind is. That's what it is.
I love it because I know Rachel, who's also here with us right now, and she's also a meditator, so she knows.
Awesome, Rachel.
But yeah, so I love this conversation, and I want to ask you. You mentioned something just a little bit in passing, but you said mind, body, spirit, and
right.
I know that those are three like very important parts of your holistic way of approaching life, self-care. But say more.
Yeah. I mean, oh geez. I mean, if I start from my own story, many, many years ago, my aunt was diagnosed with stage 4 lung cancer, and she wound up passing about a year later, and she was like my best friend.
Oh.
And she had a son who was 13 and 16. And it just kind of, in the moment where she told me, I got off the phone and she said she had stage 4 lung cancer. She was a nurse. She was a non-smoker. So it was kind of a total shock to the family, but she was my best friend. And I just got off the phone and I thought to myself, my gosh, like, if this is happening, like, what is life about? Who am I? Why am I here? And what's my purpose? Like, it was kind of just like that one broken open moment for me kind of just opened up this entire world, because I was on the hamster wheel. I was in the box. I was living a life the way that everybody said I should live, and told me to do what I was supposed to do, because I was a first generation. My parents were born in Ukraine. And so I really just started kind of a self-discovery. I've been on a self-discovery personal development train probably since 2006. And I went on and I got a master's in alternative health and healing. And that really kind of opened me up. When I did my master's, it really opened me up to, there's a lot of different, we are multidimensional human beings. We have a mind, which is our thoughts and our ego, and we have emotions, which kind of live in our body. And we have a spirit and a soul, which is like our intuition and our wisdom, and it comes from past lives, and we bring it forward, and, and it's all about the part of us that wants to serve and wants to give back and wants, the love and the passion side of us, right? So, I kind of like look at coaching when I do that is kind of like holistically looking at the whole person, and how can we cover all of those pieces of one person, because we're, it's connected by the heart. I think we're, if we live through the heart, we can, we take our actions and our thoughts and our emotions through the heart and look at what the heart wants versus what the mind wants. I feel like we can make better choices about who we are, who we want to be, what we want to do in this world. I'm sorry, I forgot. I kind of just started rambling on, but it's kind of the way I like to look at the holistic person.
Yeah. Well, and it's great because actually you did answer my question. And another one has formed, which is that I've actually been practicing for a number of years how to live from my heart and not from up here. But I'd love to hear from you. I'm sure that there are people who are listening to this who are like, what in the world does that mean? How do you do that? Right? Like, it's another one of those things that we hear a lot, but do you have any practical tips?
Well, somebody just asked me this morning a question, and my answer to them was, well, what does your heart want? What is your heart saying to you? And this goes back to mindfulness and really getting quiet within, because if you can get quiet within and listen to yourself, that little voice in your head, that's not your ego mind. That little voice in your head is your soul and your spirit inside, and it's trying to speak to you, but we don't often get quiet enough to really listen. So I think that part of us, that's our gut instinct, that's our intuition, that's our wisdom, it's really there all the time, is just quiet. And we just have to kind of figure out a way to get in touch with that. So the easiest thing is to say, okay, well, what does your heart want? What does your soul want? What does your intuition want? How do you feel about that? As opposed to the mind saying, how do what do you want to do? Like the mind always says, well, what do you want to do? That's not right. That's, the mind is always kind of like telling you to be safe, but the heart is telling you, how can I expand? How can I grow? How can I learn? And sometimes the mind will say, well, you can't do that, stay small, but we really need to play big. We need to expand, and we need to go after our dreams, because if we don't, we'd be following the mind and be stuck in the box.
Right. And so one of the things I heard you saying is that it's kind of a feel versus a do.
Right. It's the being part, the being
part. And the other thing that I'm a huge advocate for, which is that stillness. There's a favorite poem of mine by Mary Oliver that ends with the words, stillness, one of the doors into the temple.
Yes.
And I love that. I just love that. It's like, we have, not we have to, but it's, I think, our best chance a lot of times of hearing what's true for us, because there's so much. And especially now in this world that we live in, it's like, there's so much that we consume all the time in a way that we weren't doing 20 years ago. Right. And so I love to go away. I've got, well, they're closed now, but 4 times a year, I take myself to this little cabin where there's no internet, there's no phone service. I get to just be with me.
Right.
And it takes a while. And, that's the thing. Like, and I'm pretty practiced at it, but still, it takes a while to come out of all that. Yes. But it's so worth it, because I see things just cleared away that are just like, that's not me. That's not aligned with me. What am I? It doesn't even congruent with how I feel. But I just was caught up on that little, hamster wheel. I wasn't even seeing it.
Yes. It's like, be still, be quiet. And really, I mean, what I've been trying to do this week, because when I get even more stress and there's more stuff going on, I decided I needed a social media cleanse. I needed a cell phone cleanse. I wanted to pretend that I was 5 again, and that I was going to play in the woods. And I really, I grew up when there was like telephones on the wall, and see how far you can pull the cord to talk, talk in the next room so your parents wouldn't hear. So, I didn't grow up with cell phones or computers. So for me, it's easier to disconnect. But the disconnecting part is really, I just decided, I'm going to disconnect as much as possible. So I will only give myself a certain amount of time on the phone and a certain amount of time on the computer or the news. Like if I wanted to scroll the news feed, I'm only going to give myself, 15 minutes in the morning or 15 minutes at night. I'm not going to be obsessed with what's going on out there, because I'm trying to focus on me and being the best me during this time that I could be.
Wow, Marie, so much great wisdom right there, and I just want to underscore that, a couple of things, it's not just limiting the outside, like the media and the news, but also being really mindful about just how much am I letting in general, and how much am I allowing there to be the quiet. And I'm also a huge advocate for, I'm a big boundary person all the way around. There's so many things in my life that I love, so many people I love, so many yoga and dance and meditation, and that I have to kind of be, like I'm at the Zen monastery all the time. It's like, and my friends will laugh at this, but I'll be like, okay, so, we'll be on the phone from, I've got 12 to 12:30. And because otherwise, my whole life just becomes that external input.
Right.
And I so appreciate what you're saying. Now for other people right now, sorry, just one more. For other people right now, they may not have that social connection, and they need more. So I just wanted to say that just put that caveat there. Yeah.
Yeah, no, it depends on what you need right now, whether you need more connecting, because I know that we're so isolated, we need connecting, or we need more, more time, more quiet time to be still. It really just depends. But I mean, I'm such a giver. So, if people say, do you want to help this? And do you want to help that? And I'll be like the first one to raise my hand. But now during this time, I decided I really need to just focus on me, my priorities, and the boundaries are really hard for me, but the boundaries, I've had to double down on the boundaries and even make more boundaries for myself in order to take more massive action. Does that make sense?
100%. I totally, yeah. And you know, the other thing that's dropping in, because when you said that very important phrase, you know, it depends on what you need. And I think that that is another place where if we get quiet enough, if we get clear enough on what we need, it's going to look very different, even for each of us, I think, at very different moments. I realized yesterday I had just been in this like go work mode, right? I love my work. I love my work. So it's like it's work and play, but still, you know. And last night, some of my family members got together, well, separately because we're not together. But did you see this? That the Getty Museum put out this call for.
I saw the post that you put up. Those were so fun.
That was just an example. So they put out a call for people to recreate paintings with a few things from home. And I saw that and I knew, like something in me knew, like I need to do something that it's not attached to work, or it's not, you know, it's just purely just for the fun of it. Yeah. Yes. And yes. I know that in myself, because it's like, I can get to go. And that kind of just called to me. And that's what I was going to say. I mean, that may not be for everybody, but certainly for people who need that, just like, I just need to play.
Yes, we need playtime. You know, it's kind of like, what do you do for playtime is like a big question. It's kind of like, you know, do you like to dance? Do you like, you know, just do you have like, you throw on some music and just dance, and like nobody can see you. So like just go dance on top of the table. It doesn't matter. You know what I mean? It's like, how can you be silly right now? You know, we need to bring joy right now to our lives. So like the more crazy, the better at this point. And I love your posts. Those were so fun. So fun.
Well, and I love what you just said, right? Like, how can I be silly? I think one of the things is that this is such a serious time, and it is. I mean, there's no doubt. Like, there's so much going on, so much, you know, that we honor and respect and send love to people who are going through. But at the same time, in order to take care of ourselves and to be able to give more, we do have to find those places of play and even silliness. It'll keep us like energized.
Yes. My girlfriends and I seem to text jokes back and forth every day. Like there's another joke coming every day. They're just one is more sillier than the next, and they're great. They're just like, this is what I needed right now, and it came through my phone right at the right time. So it's all good. It's all good.
Yeah.
I know it's very serious, and I know, you know, what, you know, we always want to do something, like, you know, so how are we serving, you know, how are we helping? So just keep that, you know, in the top of your mind. Even if we can just pray people, you know, we can send energy, we can send love, we can send compassion to the people that are on the front lines right now.
Right.
You know, and I try to do that every day, because it's just really important. We need to support everybody who's out there helping us stay safe. So, yeah.
I say hi to Chad. Hi, Chad.
Hey, Chad, how are you?
It's so good to see you. I know. And I love that. Like, the things that we can do are so varied, right? Like we were just, so we can bring humor to the people around us. We can send prayers to the people who are on the front lines. We can send money to places. We can volunteer from home doing different things. I mean, and again, just like we were saying, like, it's going to be different for every person.
Right.
Our response.
Right. I got a couple of my friends who are big crafters, and they're out there sewing the face masks, and they're doing the PPE masks, you know, and they're just like, they're bringing the community together to support them, whether it's through people just cutting, or people helping them make patterns, or people buying products, or people distributing them. So like there's this big community that's really, really coming together to help, you know, in any way that you can, whether you know, you're crafty, or you can buy the product for people, or you can help in any particular way. Like everybody's out there to help.
Yes. And, you know, one of my favorite metaphors that it's always been a favorite metaphor is that the V of the geese, you know, there's the geese and the V. And I don't know if this is true or not, maybe you know, but it's like at one point I heard that they switch who leads, right? That there's the geese who are leading, and then when they get tired, they fall to the back. Is this true?
I've heard that. Yes, I've heard that.
Anyway, I love that metaphor because right now, that's how I feel like it is for us. Like sometimes, you know, we might have the energy to be leading the pack, right? We're out there and we have, and then I also really respect and honor that place of exhaustion. And right now, I just need, as you've mentioned too, right now, I need to unplug from everything and everyone and maybe meditate or read a book or take a bath or whatever my self-care is.
Right.
And just trust that other people are out there in the front leading, you know, with that service.
Yes, yes, yes. So, I mean, I think going back to what I said earlier is kind of like whatever you need, you know, whether you feel like you need to connect right now, or you need to help in some way, or you need to take time for yourself and just be still and quiet and find a place just to collect your thoughts and journal, or, you know, read a book or take a bath. It doesn't, you know, take a walk. It's just about, you know, kind of honoring yourself at this moment.
Oh, Marie, what a beautiful. I love that. That is so true. Like just that permission to honor yourself wherever you are. So, you know, this went so fast. It's wrap up. I feel like we've touched on some really great things. And is there anything that you feel like you want to say before we go?
You know, I think just at this time, in terms of, you know, mind, body, spirit, I think we just need to, you know, and so many different people have said this before, but it's kind of like, just as a reminder, it's kind of like, you know, you can choose to be in fear or you can choose faith. And so at this point, you know, what do you choose? You know, because you can continue to make yourself crazy and, you know, have stuff run through your mind, or you can make a choice to choose faith. And if you choose with an intention of being faith, and then you can figure out what actions you particularly yourself need to take to have more faith every day, you know, and live, you know, be in more love, be in more compassion, you know, and it really comes down to choice. What do you choose? You know, just like that story about the wolves and the cherry grandfather who says, you know, I have a story to tell you about, what happens in the mind. You know, either the mind goes towards fear or anger or, you know, resentment, or the mind can go towards love and compassion and hope and joy. And the grandson says, well, which one wins? And the grandfather says, the one you feed.
Oh, I'm so glad. That's so beautiful. And that's another one of my favorites. Right?
Yeah.
Oh, thank you, Marie.
Thank you. Thank you.
For being
everybody.
here.
Thank you. Sending you all love.
Yes. And I'm so grateful, Marie, for your time today.
You're welcome.
Yay.
Bye-bye.